You can see that this seat is got about the same amount of cracking here, but this bolster obviously is it's completely worn out. When you sit in the Jeep, you kind of lean over to the side. Okay guys, here we are again working on the Jeep Grand Cherokee WJ 2001 that I picked up about a month and a half ago for $500. And I've been kind of going through and documenting the work I've done to the Jeep, the fun we've had so far out camping and off-roading. I went to the junkyard today and I found this passenger seat that's in pretty good shape, matches the same as my interior. It does have a little bit of cracking right here, but you know, the bolsters are all good. I'm gonna try to adapt it to use as my driver's seat. Worst case scenario, I just use the foam here on my seat and reupholster it or something. I really don't want to get into reupholstering. Another option would be to go and just cut a cover off of like one of the back seats in the Jeep that's at the junkyard and use that leather. Okay, so what I'm going to do is remove this seat track, because they actually charged me $30-something for this seat track, which I'll probably take back to the junkyard since I don't need it. So it was like $28 for the seat and $32 or something for the seat track. Alright, that was pretty painless. Okay, I went ahead and just unbolted the driver's seat off the floor, and we can clearly see that I can't just swap the passenger seat with the driver's seat because of the seat rails. These frame rails are offset over, so they had this mechanism offset over to the outside. Here's the center line of the seat, and then same thing on the passenger side, they had it offset over to the outside. So I'm going to have to swap foams and covers. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it bolted down right to the frame rail there, or the track. There's no sense taking it off. Alright, so I've got the two seats split apart. It was a bolt here, a bolt there, and just one bolt on this side went through right here. And split it apart. Now I'm just going to start peeling this stuff off with the screwdriver. I guess I got to fish these wires out of here. These are for the seat heats. So you can see here how worn out this was. It was right down to this metal bar here. So that could be fixed, I suppose. If you were just trying to fix what you had, you could glue that back together and then maybe even put another little piece of foam over that to try to fix it. But I think our plan is just to use the foam off of that. It's got a little hog ring back here. Hog rings are just... I'm just twisting it a little bit to get it. No one ever said any of this was easy. Alright, come off. There's our old foam. Whoa! Alright, there goes out with the old. So let's take a look at this foam under here. Okay, so that's interesting. So somebody had already gone in here, and look at that. They curled up some foam in there to try to repair this. It was just completely wore out, wore through the leather. junk. One of the issues I have right now is that I got to get this bolt out, and this bracket is blocking it, so I'm going to use my power probe, power up this motor. Beautiful. Real handy tool, guys. If you don't have one yet, you need one. I'll put a link in the description. These are two halves. How these work, most of these modern seats, instead of having hog rings, they just have a bar, and this little plastic clip just clips to it. So if you just put a little pressure on it, you can usually pop it right off. There you go. Just like that. So there's one on each side. This one actually does have, they put a couple hog ring pieces there for some reason. So I'll have to cut those off. Okay, it looks like this seat foam is going to work. This is the driver's seat rail and bottom with the now the passenger seat foam on here. So this foam is in absolutely perfect shape. The discoloration is just what happens to foam over time. The only difference I can see is that here's the other one, and you can see that this one had like a little cut coming up here for the that whole mechanism, so I'll probably just have to trim back the foam a little bit, but that's no big deal. Ooh, looks better already. Around here. So it does have obviously the wrong cuts on this side with this stuff, which was the lever actuators and stuff for the passenger side. But because it's so tight to the console, you'll never see this anyways. So not gonna worry about it. Okay, this side here, which was the outside passenger side, is now the driver's side inside. It is a little bit different here on the frame. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this. It doesn't have the sheet metal part for these clips to clip into. So I'm just going to kind of roll this material up under here. And then I'm just going to use a couple hog ring pliers and hog ring this together. So in case you're wondering what hog ring pliers look like, there's a bag of hog rings, and there's just this is just a cheap little set here, and you can see there's that little groove in there that kind of squeezes it. Just like that. You can kind of pre-start it in your pliers, and then just kind of line it up over. Boom. Alright, so that side's good. And again, you'll never see this stuff. It's totally hidden. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and strip this the new one from the junkyard, and strip this one down. Alright guys, back in the shop for some more work here. As you can see, I'm wearing different clothes. I'm going to now fit this foam, which was from that passenger side seat, onto the driver's side frame. One thing to remember when you're working on cars is that these cars were put together, literally each section, each component was put together in seconds or in minutes. So nothing should really take too terribly long to do. Alright, so we can see an area that I messed up. This foam, this had a couple hog ring snaps on there, and I ripped it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those off. This rod was embedded down in the foam, and they had hog ring the cover to that to help hold it in tight. So what I'm going to do is take some of this 3M adhesive, just spray that in there. Alright, this is tacked up. I'm going to stick this back in here as best as I can. Alright, that went right back in there real nice. These hog rings actually work pretty well. Some hog rings there. You gotta be a little bit forceful with these. There it is. I clipped all that in. Cover's all nice and pulled down. Looks really good. These only go in one way. There was a little groove in there. All right, that looks really good. And put some leather conditioner on there. Alright, so what we're going to do is bolt it back together, and then I'll decide what I need to trim over here and how I'm going to attach this, probably a couple screws. Alright, so I thought I would remind us what this looked like. So that's the old one, all broken down, and this is the new one. Real nice. But we need to do some comparisons here of this foam cut here for the bracket mechanism. This hole right here could actually be a problem. You can see the other one, the original driver's seat one. It was completely, this panel came all the way back with just 2 holes in the side for the bolts for the bracket, whereas this one we have this larger hole. Basically the mirror image that we got going here. So I may have to trim a hole here and then do a little patch, just lay a little patch in this one. And I think as long as I can line up, I can pop some holes in here and pop a hole in here, and then probably a hole for the electronics. So down in here is going to need a hole, and then 2 holes for the bolts. I'm going to go ahead and trim this foam back. Alright, so that should leave, you can see the mounts here, mount there. It's definitely that back one. Alright, so I cut a hole here for that mount hole. It's down all the way. And then I'm gonna eyeball this guy right here. Actually thinking that I could hook this, snap this right up onto this rail here. Yeah, look at that. Alright, so that was cool. Don't have to do any modifications, any drilling. That fit right on there. Alright, I went ahead and made a little slot here too, so that all of these wires for the controls can stick out there. So that's the bracket, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut a slot right on this thread. Alright, I don't think that little bit of carpet right there is going to bother me or anybody else. Alright, so we definitely have an issue here. That old spot. So what I'm going to do is cut out some material. Keep in mind too that these seats, all seats, car seats, only the very top surfaces are leather. Everything else is vinyl. Alright, so what I'm going to do is take this piece and tuck it in there. Alright, so there you go. Fixed. It's there. It could move around, I suppose, but I think it's probably pretty much going to be there. No one was really going to notice that. We can see where the plastic panel came around here. The screw hole was there. So it's just around the bend and down from that mount hole. Done. Alright, I think this looks pretty good, guys. It's not perfect. It is still an old seat. But you figure a passenger seat is sat in probably 25% of the time as a driver's seat. So it has much less wear, much less breakdown of the foam. It does have a little bit of cracking there. I mean, ideally, if I had the time and the energy, I would have cut these panels out, reupholstered the center with some new leather, maybe suede or something cool to kind of change it up. But really not there on this project. Maybe down the road I'll reupholster these seats with something that matches the paint scheme that we end up with. But for now, you know, that could be a year or two down the road. But for now, I've got a nice seat again. If I compared that to this, which you can just see the shininess of it too, how it just was all polished, super broken down in here, broken down along here. About the only difference I can say is that this leather continued here, and this one has this little piece of carpet panel. They do that on the cars because that's rubbing against your center console area, I suppose, and it's more wear resistant. You should be able to do this on just about any vehicle. Go to the local junkyard, pick yourself up a passenger seat that's matching material. So with a little bit of modification, guys, you can go ahead and swap your seats over. You got to reuse your frames, reuse all your mechanisms, reuse the floor tracks off of this driver's seat. So you're just going to be swapping over the foam and the covers themselves. Please do me a favor, like and subscribe my videos. I go through a lot of effort to make these videos and to edit them down, documenting pretty much everything I do now here at the shop. I'm trying to, and I don't make any money off of it. My videos aren't monetized yet. Hopefully they will someday. Now is a great time to go in and vacuum up all of the 15-year-old McDonald's French fries. There's one. Alright guys, check it out. That is quite an improvement. I am really happy with the install. It all looks really good. I just put some leather conditioner on it. I'll do that a few more times to try to soften it back up. The steering wheel looks great. Cleaning that goo off of this cover here. I mean, it's not sticky anymore. It feels brand new. The old one was all nasty and gross. And then here's the junkyard one. Passenger side junkyard. fitted onto the driver's side. Between sewing up and threading in the new cover, cleaning this airbag cover and the new seat cover here, it's like a whole new truck. Alright guys, I want to thank you for watching this video, and please like and subscribe to my channel and click the notification button. That way you can get updates on all the latest videos that I post. If you have any comments, please leave them below, and I always read every comment. And we'll see you out on the trail. Peace out.